Time for a blaze farm. All I need is to find a good fortress. Nope, 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 nope. I give up. Bartering system complete. Now I just need some piglins. I'm in trouble, aren't I? I know I said I wouldn't show this place again, but that was before I made a piglin bartering system. Why do I keep pressing this button? It's why. But yeah, I made a piglin bartering system. I built this, by the way, completely myself. No tutorials needed, though I might have combined a couple things I've seen from other people, so I like, pinning a bunch of piglins in the same spot. And that means I can explain actually how this works. So there's a redstone clock here that continuously activates the dispenser that you can't currently see. There, right there, where it is. The gold nuggets from the gold farm go over here, everything into this sorted, everything else gets sorted to there, where they are quickly disposed of. But yeah, the golden nuggets go in here, they make a full ingot, and then are sent into this dispenser, which are then given to the piglins who barter for all kinds of stuff, and then that's put into this item sorter that sorts all of the items. That being said, I quickly leave this place and never show it again. That's actually all the recapping I had to do for this episode, other than the failed blaze farm that we're not going to talk about. It didn't happen. What I can show is this empty hallway. There's no longer gonna be any. What is. Where am I? How do I get up here? Well, oh, look, the hallway's finished. So I'm gonna very quickly go through this because, well, I've kind of built this before. Not a lot has changed, other than like I'm trying to do a swirl, like a wee to varying success. I don't think it works fully. I might think of that just a little bit later, but yeah, this is basically a way to go up. You go up to that floor, to this floor. I don't, and this remains the same as before. Like this kind of hallway, you got things over here where you can just stare at absolutely nothing. What has changed is this. The sea lanterns are placed exactly with those, or like the gaps over there are. So in an emergency, whenever if a sea monster or whatever would come to attack, it would open up, and this would be ready to protect it. Like what's going on with the Kraken over there. You see, this is like you see with this, activates and stuff. This is just how that looks on the inside of the wall. And then we got a table over here. It's a table. I just try to have some form of decorations. Also, whenever I build in Minecraft, I'm not good at like the small stuff, like stuff like this. Like I have no idea what to put here, so I've tried to have like something. I'm trying to make it look like they're trying to figure out a way to like put like the the sea lantern stuff that powers the things that we use for protection and stuff. Like they're trying to infuse it into like armor and things to like protect the soldiers and stuff that are gonna be fighting there. It's a very empty town at the moment, but it's gonna change. Moving on, we have a longer, we're in a longer hallway again. We've seen this before. If you've watched my other stuff, if you haven't, this is new, and in which case, welcome. If you haven't, I think this is pretty basic. It's just kind of a hallway and then a bunch of stuff, like archways and stuff to make it seem like it's not boring. Yeah, I for one will really like the water though. I think that's kind of the touch that's like gets to me the most. Again, it's keeping with the water theme, but yeah. Moving on, we have the bigger room. This is more of a transport. Like it's more focused on getting you up there instead of the other one, which is more like storage focused and table. This one also has like the perfected swirls around. Like you can see, like it looks like it going. Looks like it's like I don't know, attempted movement. I guess I don't know. You can't really move in panes like that, but it looks like it does, and that's what counts. But yeah, these go up. You go up with these. I haven't thought of a way to get up there. That's just something. Now I could just move this up here so it releases up. The problem with that is that I like it like this. I like how it looks more like this instead of it going up. So we'll see. And you can go down like this and you'll be fine. And we got another hallway. It sure is a hallway. Let me repeat this power source room. Nothing really changed except this. The contents of the table have changed, and that is because this side is where the Kraken is attacking. I've just made a map of this so that it looks like they're planning. Oh no, the Kraken's there, right there. You can't see it, but it's there. What are we gonna do about it? At least that city, and then a weapon because they're about to attack and stuff. I forgot to put the water in this one. That's a genuine accident. There, much better. I genuinely think the water makes this so much better. This is another hallway, of course, though, but so it's not a lot has changed. That is until we reach the gate, which leads into the big tower, where we have this, which is basically another transport room. It's a simple thing. The idea with this is a lot more different, though, in that each one of these towers is gonna be like a tiny little like battery for these, because it's the furthest from the main base that's gonna be over there, and so it needs like its own thing to operate. This is the only one of those has a way down to the water. The other one out, everything else has like a just you drop down. Couldn't fit that here, so the magma's there. This is my bed. We don't have a hallway over here though. What's up with that? I wonder what. Oh, it's there. Where did that come from? Guess we'll never know. But you're not here for the inside of the wall that we're never gonna see again, probably. You can see the sea lantern behind that. I gotta fix that. I have a big plan for a big build. You have a plan to watch me build the big build plan. Did I just have a stroke? I have a big plan for a big build, but first, I need resources. I don't have a lot of those. Resources are being collected. Do not worry. I do stuff. Now that I have this whole thing gathered, it doesn't look like much. I promise you it is. This is actually the entirety of my shulker boxes. I've had to salvage every single one of them, even the ones that are already in use. And even then, I don't have enough. I still have a chest here with stuff. But with all that said, let's get to work. As we walk along this great water road, through the well-trimmed bushes, up the staircase, through this bridge that leads to this great building, we go through the waterfall into absolutely nothing. Except this dirt staircase. I'm actually so happy with this build. It looks so good. And obviously it's not done. There's quite a lot that needs to be filled up. But what we got now, it's quite amazing. Now the actual designing of this has taken quite a while, and in fact I didn't always start like this. What am I doing here? And I can just show you. This is what it used to look like. And in hindsight, I'm actually really happy I didn't do this. It's not a bad build in and of itself. Like there are a lot of details and stuff, and like I should note this is not the actual finished product I was going to use. You can see I was testing out something different there. I was also going to use some gradients over here, as you can see by there. You can it mapped out a pretty suitable one for there. It's even elaborated on over there. I decided against this because it kind of doesn't match with the color scheme of the wall. I also couldn't figure out what to do with the top. You can see I tested it further over there, and that's a mess. And then created a flat world to test it out, and that it is where the madness started. I just started testing, different things, like maybe have a little tilt, or like see there, I was trying like more of a pyramid, or like it stops and then it goes. Tried figuring out how the roof would go with that. Out of all of those, this seemed to be, the most common one. And you can see there, it's the most, you'll see this all around. All of that, and it just still didn't click for me. I then tried making it thinner and a lot more like an actual tower, and it didn't work. I just don't think the color scheme works. It's too green. It doesn't fit in. Then I started playing around with this, which more resembles the one we actually end up with. I think I started with just a mock-up of this first. Can you see the resemblance? And that's as far as I can show, because the rest of it includes spoilers. I have pre-planned, the whatever goes in here. Before, I just didn't build it because big. Now let's talk about the actual build. This part might be expanded on mostly because it's technically floating. The reason for that is I don't know if when I put some land in there, if I'm gonna cover the whole thing or not. I might leave some water in there for some aesthetic. Ow. Well, I know that. I don't really have anything to say about this. I think it just largely speaks for itself. The only thing I really want to say is that these tubes. You may have noticed in the time lapse there was a quick detour to get all these guardians in. There is a reason for that. I've mentioned before how this city is essentially using water as a defensive mechanism. They figured out how to make. Flying too fast, hold on. They've essentially figured out how to make force fields using water. And they've managed to create that using force fields that these fish give off. This structure is effectively something they've taken over. These tubes are meant to be a demonstration of that. They've put some fishes in there and are extracting their power. I don't know if I have a name for it yet. One thing with this build I'm not too sure on is I don't know what flowers are supposed to go on these, and by extension the moss over here. I tried various flowers in the time lapse, but none of them really stuck out to me. But that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like this build as much as I do, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the behind the scenes of it. I thought I should share that since it had such a drastic change up. I don't know how to end this video. It's usually a random cut in there or something. Oh? You're still here? You must be here for the ultra secret blooper clips that have been here for the whole time. Well, since we're all in agreement, let's roll the clips. Through the waterfall, revealing absolutely nothing. Except this dirt skits. Except this dirt. Except this dirt. Except this dirt scares. Except this dirt scares. Scare. Except this dirt scares. Except this dirt stair. Except this dirt staircase. Fucking critics saying things. I know. Yep, yes. And as we walk along this nice water bridge, filled with nice trimmed bushes. And as we walk along this fine water road with a bit. And as we walk along this fine-tuned water road with a keep saying that word. And as we walk along the fine-tuned road, and as we walk along the water road with a well-trimmed hip, and as we walk along this well, and as we walk along this water road with a well-trimmed hip, and as we walk along the nice water road with a well-trimmed hip,